this is y'all's tape. I don't know how else to say this, but this is y'all's fucking tape. So this video is basically for my Target peeps who I used to work with, and they're all wondering like, why did you leave Target and this and that? So if you're not my, Target peeps or anyone who I used to work with at Target and we both left, my name is Mello. I make YouTube videos every now and then, but I decided to make a whole like rant video about my experience at Target and why I left. I'll start off with like where I came from and like why I left my previous job, and then the 2 job offers that I got and why I chose Target, and then like the whole interview process and orientation, and then I'll just get into the whole like my experience and then what they did to piss me off and made me want to leave. So as a lot of you may know, not many of you, but I used to work at Mattress Firm for about a year and a half, and I was a store manager there in Spring Hill. So I had to commute 45 minutes to and from work about 5 days a week, sometimes 6 and 7 days, because if somebody called out me as a store manager, I had to go into work and cover the shift, which was like hectic because I was full-time there, already getting 46 hours a week with the 5 days that I was going in, plus with me going into school full-time as well and being on campus on Tuesday. It was a lot. So at the time, whenever I left Mattress Firm, it was around the end of June, so I was out of school at the time. However, whenever I went to Target, I was looking for a new job. So I wanted a new job to where I could focus more on the skills that I have learned in school, because that semester I had taken business communications, corporate communications, management, and also Dale Carnegie. And Dale Carnegie was more of like a personal development class. So after I've taken that class, a lot of stuff about me has changed, like professionalism. I keep my aggressiveness and my sassiness to a minimum, but sometimes it does come out here and there. People find it funny because they don't expect it out of me, but if you talk to me on a day-to-day basis, it's already there. So you wouldn't think twice about it. So whenever I applied for Target, I also applied for Bath and Body Works, which was on the Avenue at the mall. So it was both of those jobs. But Bath and Body Works didn't call me back. Target called me, and they wanted to schedule an interview. So I went through the interview process. So I went and did the interview, and I waited at Starbucks for a little bit, and I did the interview, and it was weird because like the interview was like, it was low energy, basically. It was just like very low energy, and I wish that somebody would have told me like, don't do it, don't apply, or like at least say don't accept the position, because if I didn't take the position, I would have ended up going to Bath and Body Works as a supervisor. I just didn't know how much they paid. I should have asked, and I should have went in for the interview, but I didn't. So we're in the interview at Target, and it was weird because we're gonna call her, like everyone is gonna know who I'm talking about, but this for my own protection and for like disclaimers, so like Target doesn't think that I'm bashing them as a company. Like I'm not bashing y'all, I'm just telling my experience there and what happened and why, I almost said his name, and why the regional and district manager both need to make a surprise undercover boss visit, get some earpieces with the walkies, and just hear everything that be going on. So the interview was like low energy, and it was not really there, and I had 3 copies of my resume because I was ready. I was on deck. Like had 3 resumes. I was in suit and tie. Like I was ready to ace this interview and call it a day and be like, okay, I got this interview, I did good. Because when I left, I just felt like I didn't do well in the interview, but the interview didn't feel like an interview. It felt more of like a casual conversation. It was like no professionalism anywhere, and the interview was kind of like this basic questions that doesn't really focus on what you want to do in like in your own professional development, basically. So whenever I did work at Target, during that interview, the questions was just like, I can't even remember what the questions was like, but she just focused more on,
well, I love working at Target and this and that and blah, blah, blah.
But it wasn't no enthusiasm behind it. It was like, no, you do not like working here. Like, I can already tell you don't like working here, but that's fine. That don't matter. Like, I'll just go ahead, apply, do this interview, and call it a day. Midway through the interview, I wasn't really feeling it because of the low energy that was given. It's just like, if you feel this way in the interview, you probably feel the same way during your actual working. So by the end of the interview, she's like, do you have any questions for me? I was like, yeah, I got some questions. And I asked her the typical 5 questions that I usually ask people in interviews for my own personal development, because I am in school for corporate communications and I need my own personal development. Like, who doesn't need personal development? Who doesn't need professional development in a job setting where you're still in school and you want to do what you wanted to do? And what I want to do is real estate and event planning. So we were talking and she said,
I'm really glad that you opened up at the end of the interview, because to be honest, I wasn't really feeling you at first. I couldn't figure you out. But now that you opened up, I want to push you through the second interview process. When are you free for another interview?
And I told her, I was like, well, I won't be free until Monday, because my schedule at Mattress Firm, I worked Wednesday to Sunday, and then if I had to get called into work on Monday and Tuesday because someone called out, Tuesday would be the best day for me to come in if I get called in on Monday. So she said, okay, I'll give you a call and let you know, because my boss closes the store tomorrow. So if that works, you can get off at 8:45, make it here by 9, and you can do the second part of the interview. I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. Just let me know, give me a call. And I thanked her, shook her hand, and walked out the door. I want to say this though. I did graduate from Dale Carnegie. And anyone who knows what Dale Carnegie is MTSU is the only school that offers Dale Carnegie. And people love the fact that you are in Dale Carnegie because you have both leadership and personal development from that course. So you know how to motivate people, you know how to influence people. And I don't influence people for manipulation. I influence people so they can do better. There's a huge difference. However, at Target, it's not like that. Anyways, this girl did not know what Dale Carnegie was. It's like my whole resume of all my experiences, what I'm in school for, and what certificates I have, it didn't matter. Because she was just like, oh, I don't know what that is. Like, how do you not know what that is? And you're sitting here trying to be an ETL and run a business for the front end. You need to know what Dale Carnegie is, because you are a service and engagement leader. And as a service and engagement leader, you are helping the guests and also your employees when needed. So if you don't know what Dale Carnegie is for how to influence people and how to motivate people and how to make new friends, it's all going to crumble down in front of your face, which it kind of did. So I go back to my car, I get a phone call before I even leave the parking lot, got the interview for tomorrow at 9 p.m. at night. So like literally when I closed the store at 8 o'clock that very next day, I went straight from Spring Hill to Murfreesboro to not submit my application, but to do my second interview, which they both did the same thing in the interview. They made it seem like this is a whole happy place to work at. You're going to love working here. You're going to love the team. I love my job, X, Y, and Z. And they get you in the interview because they say that all the time.
I love working here. I love my job. You're going to love working here. Work somewhere where you love to shop at and this and that.
After this whole experience at Target, I'm never shopping at Target again. I'm never going to submit an application at Target again. It's not Target Corporation, it's just certain stores just have certain issues, and it just opened my eyes to where in my future jobs I need to actually ask the employees, do you actually enjoy working here? What do you like about your job? What do you do not like about your job? And what communication issues do you have at your job? Because it was communication issues on a day-to-day basis at Target, because people don't know how to treat people and people don't know how to talk to people, and reasons why multiple people has either not worked out their 2 weeks, have put in their 2 weeks, or either walked out on the job and quit. Like, that's literally what happened, but we gonna get into that later. So I do the second interview. It was weird because we had to go on the sales floor to do the interview. Doesn't make any sense to do an interview on the sales floor, but it is what it is. And we was just walking through, and he was like telling me all this stuff and about like I like you. I think you'd be a great fit for the team. We're gonna hire you. Here's the availability form. So I filled out the availability form, and they get confused whenever they said, "Oh, you're full time, but you go to school." I'm like, I take online school, and if I need to take a class on campus, it's usually a night class, and usually either on Tuesdays or Thursdays. But it's always a night class, so maybe it might be a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday too. But I always try to minimize at least one class on campus if needed. Remainder is online because my major is an online major. So, with that being said, that will pop up later about that, because later on, my whole availability for what I wanted to do in my life kind of like caused conflict to where I was not able to do it, and now I'm kind of sitting here trying to figure out what am I actually going to do, because it didn't follow through the way that I wanted it to do. So orientation happened, and orientation was kind of weird, but not really. I don't really know how to explain orientation, to be honest. Like, it was kind of just not really informative to me personally. But like, orientation was interesting. The lady who did our orientation, like, she still works there. We gonna call her Anne. We just gonna fuck it. We gonna call her Anne. So Anne was doing our orientation, and like making it seem like a great place to work at. That's like the main thing they was doing. Like, this is a great place to work at. This is a great place to work at. You're gonna love working here. Let me tell you, everyone who was in my orientation, every single last one of them, I want to say they all gone. They all left. I think they all left maybe a month or two after, or either a month after their 90 days. They was all gone. They left. Like, I remember this one guy who was our cart attendant. He worked there. He was gone too, and he even told me, like, our ETL front end, we gonna name her. Let me look around my room. I don't know what I'm gonna name her. We gonna name her. Who did you? I'm trying to think. Who did she look like? We're gonna call her. Fuck it. We're gonna call her like Bub or something. I don't know, but he even told me, he's just like, I'm leaving mainly because of her, and I was just like, I don't blame you, because I'm ready to leave too. And I even told him, like, I've been looking for jobs. I started looking for jobs in October. That's how ready I was, and I was only working there for 3 months at that point. So orientation happened, and we had 2 employees that was there. They don't really need nicknames. They don't even need names. I'm not even going to put their real names out there because they weren't there long enough for me to even care that much. But I kind of did care because it made me feel bad, but not really, if that makes sense. So there's 2 employees. One was named, we're not giving them names, that's right. So we had 2 employees. One was a guy and one was a girl. So the guy, he was promised to be a team lead. So Bub like told him, it's like,
oh, we're gonna have you as a team lead and this and that. We think you have great skills to be a team lead.
He said, okay, cool. Mind you, I found out he only been there for a couple of months. He's only been there for a couple of months, and they're already promising this man that he's about to be a TL. So when they made that promise that he was gonna be a TL, guess who they hired? Me. They hired me on, and then he was mad at me and had animosity towards me because I was the new team lead. I'm like, no, sir, you need to take that out with Bub or whatever the fuck her name is. You need to go take that out with her because she was the one that hired me. It's not my fault that she hired me, and now you mad, and you want to be mad at me. I'm just glad this man didn't try to get buck with me, because I would have clocked out and we could have fought it out in the parking lot or something. And then 2, the girl was promised the same stuff. She's only been there for 90 days. When I talked to her, she said, I just passed my 90 days and this and that. But she was promised a TL position too. So I was thinking in the back of my head, like, so, man, I don't want to keep calling her Bub, to be honest. Like, we gonna call her, we gonna call her, Miriam. There we go. Fuck it. We gonna call her Miriam. So Miriam told her that shit too. And then she hired me. And when I came in, she was just like, oh, meet your new team lead, Miss Romello. And the girl looked at me like, really? And looked at her like, really? Like, this what we're doing? Like, she was so mad about it. But like, bitch, don't get mad at me about it. Don't have no animosity towards me. Have that same energy with Miriam, because she was the one that fucking hired me. Like, bitch, like, what the fuck? So that happened. I had two people who had animosity towards me. The guy quit. He quit. The other girl, I can't disclose what happened with that, but she no longer works there. But the guy quit. He just put in his 2 weeks, and then one day he just stopped showing up, and it was giving away all of his shifts because he was mad. And I remember somebody told me about it, and I want to say it's the person who was helping in OPUs, because he was talking to her about it one day too. And I remember she saying that, yeah, he said that he left because there's no room for him to move up. And I was just like, well, what I don't understand is, if you really want a position, open your mouth and say something, but don't get mad when a new bitch get hired off the block, and then all of a sudden you want to be mad at the world and mad at the new person because you didn't get the position. See what I'm saying? Like, see, but that was kind of unethical on Miriam's end, because she promised both of them that position. She also promised, I don't want to put her name out here, but my good friend who works there, she's works there for like 3 fucking years, and they promised her a TL position all the fucking time. And it's like this huge carrot that they be like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a TL position, and then they hop up and not give it to her. And they did that shit again. Had her open up her availability. She opened up her availability because I put in my 2 weeks. Like, this is like skipping ahead, but I don't care. So she opened up her availability. She already graduated from college. That's all she needed to do. Graduate, open up her availability, and then they was gonna give her a TL position. You know what they did? They told her straight up
that, oh, we're looking for someone else to take the position. We need somebody who's going to be here until 4th quarter, and since you're moving back home in July, you won't be here long enough. However, we'll still train you to be a TL, and when you move back home, you can transfer to that target as a TL.
like, no, you sit here and told her that all she needs to do is open her availability and graduate from school, and you'll give her a TL position because I was leaving. But you didn't do that. So you just sit here and lied and had her open up her availability so you can have her work whatever shift y'all want her to work. But no, we ain't about to do that. And what pisses me off is that both, what I call her, Miriam, both Miriam and my counterpart, we're gonna call him, Tim. So Miriam and Tim both told her that when you work here for 6 months, you can transfer. And I'm sitting here just like, I left back in fucking December. I left back in December of last year. And you're telling me January, February, March, April, May, June. By the time June hits, she's been here for 6 months. And when she goes back home in July, it would have been 7 months. So she could have transferred back home in fucking July. But they said you need to be here for 6 months. It's just made no sense. It's just like, she's gonna be there for 6 months. But y'all just wanted her to do that so y'all can work her to death and have her come in whenever y'all want her to. But then y'all want to offer positions to people who has never worked here, for example, me. Or offer the position to someone who has only been there for a couple of months. For example, the first 2 people that I mentioned that did not like me. So it made no fucking sense. It's like, why are you promising her these positions if you're not gonna fucking give it to her? So fucking stupid. They do that all the time. And then want to get mad whenever people be like, okay, I'm ready to leave. And then they be mad as hell and want to be nice too at the same time. But, oh no, please don't leave. We don't want to do this and this and that. I'm like, no, you fucked up. So don't sit here and try to apologize for that shit and get them to stay on the team, because I wouldn't want to stay on there either. I didn't. After I found that shit out, I didn't want to. It's just a bunch of shit. Like, y'all are over-promising and having favoritism. And with the favoritism, what I have to say about that is, favoritism at that location, maybe not all of them, but at that location, it's 100% real. Let me tell you, the same girl got, nothing against this girl at all, but the same girl got Employee of the Month 3 times in a row for front end. 3 times. And the girl that they promised to give that TL position to, Marie wrote on a sheet of paper, how do you feel about this employee for Employee of the Month? And she's like, yeah, she's good. Why? And she's like, okay, that's all I needed to know. And then she got it again. You see, it's so fucking stupid. Like, favoritism, why is that even in there for? So I started to see favoritism. I started to see how these people are actually talking to people on the walkie. And this is why we all think that the only reason why they got us earpieces for every single person is because they don't want the guests to hear how they are treating their employees. Because guest has heard the conversations, guest has called corporate. Corporate hasn't done anything. Maybe they're looking into it, but I do know the visits has gone up after a lot of guests has made complaints. So they be talking to the employees crazy. There's one lady in GM, she's a team lead, and our store director at our location be yelling at her and talking to her crazy. There was one day where he talked to her crazy over the walkie, and I was this close to saying something like, who are you talking to like that? Because these people do not have to work for you. These people can clock out and go home. You are mistreating your employees. You are making these people question their job every single fucking day, and I feel like they're doing this for fucking modernization because they want all the old people out because they know the old process is a whole fucking mess. And they think that if they hire new people off the streets, that they can get them to do whatever they want, basically, or manipulate them into doing whatever they want. I'm so glad that I linked up with the one girl up front that is my good friend, because if I didn't, I would have known shit. I would not have known what was going on. People from different departments came up to me saying, I cannot believe you only been here for a month and a half and you already see how stuff is going on. I'm like, I do see how stuff is going on. Like, I'm not about to sit here and get yelled at on a day-to-day basis because, oh, we need fast guest service. And then you're going to hop up and get mad saying that, well, we ruining the guest experience on the floor. Like, nigga, I don't care what a guest experience I'm ruining. I need guest service up front because I'm not about to get bitched at on a day-to-day basis because the lines are too long, but yet you don't want to give up any employees to go up front. Or better yet, nobody wants to fucking respond to fast service and all be quiet and be like, oh, I don't want to go up there. Or whenever this one woman, there was this one lady who used to be over style, and she'd be like,
my style people cannot go up for fast service. I only have one person.
and I'm like, they're the closest fucking people that we have. So you're telling me I have to wait 5 minutes after I get a response from GM for them to come all the way from the back room to come up front to hop on the register? No. No, ma'am. They style team can run up there real quick, and when GM gets up there, they can swap out. The end in the story, and that's that. And what gets me is that this job, whenever they did come to me talking crazy, what they love to do is like put their hand in my face, like, no ma'am, do not put your hand in my face, because I will take that in the wrong way, because you're going to get knocked the fuck out upside your head, because come at me on some disrespectful shit and you within arm's reach, and especially if you're waving that hand in my face, anybody can get slapped. Period. So there was one day where one of my colleagues called, we're going to call this lady, we're going to call her Cayenne Pepper. There you go, Cayenne Pepper, because she thinks she's the shit. So Cayenne Pepper came up front, and she didn't want to come up there. And that day, I had a guest who was yelling at me because her husband returned some items with his ID and got a merchandise card the day prior. But yet, she wanted her money back. Ma'am, you should have sent your husband up to that store with your receipt to get your money back. But you didn't, and you knew he came home for merchandise cards, so why did you wait until the very next day to come up here and try to fix it? You should have done that shit the day prior. But no, you did that because you wanted to start some shit. And then on top of that, this bitch wanted to yell at me. I gave her our store director's business card and said, call him. She hopped up, left, went to her car, got back up with her baby, and came back into store. And then they both started barking at me. And I said, no, we not about to do this. So one of my colleagues called Cayenne Pepper up to the front. And she's like,
I'm coming. What do y'all need? Is it Ronaldo up there to handle it?
and she's just like, yeah, he is, but they're not listening to him, so we need another ETL or at least someone else to step in and be like, look, we cannot do this. So she's like, oh, well, I'll be up there in a minute. Like, she does that all the time. Like, she be mad when she needs to do something. Like, bitch, do your fucking job. You are the ETL on duty right now. You are equivalent to a store manager right now because ours is not here. Do your fucking job and come up here and help. And when she does come up there, because we got the whole situation handled, she comes up there and do the same shit too, with a hand all up in my face and waving her head saying,
"You need to tell these people the policy. You need to be strict with these people. I don't understand why it's so hard to do that. I want them to come up here and do your job."
and I looked at her, I'm like, no, you don't got to do my job. We just needed you up here for backup. And she's just like, well, you don't need to be calling our store director on his day off. And I said, ma'am, that's what they wanted. That's what the guests wanted. And that's what I did because you didn't want to come up here. And she said, oh, well, if it was going to escalate to something physical, you could have called AP. I'm like, AP is right there. What else am I supposed to do? They ain't listening to me. Might as well call your ass up here. But you didn't want to come up here anyway. You don't want to do shit. It's like y'all get paid 2-3 times more than I do a year, but y'all don't want to do shit. Y'all just come to work, sit in TSC and gossip all day long, be on your phones, but don't want to do shit. And then like she just like walked off and she like mad at the world because she's like, oh, I could have been doing this and blah blah blah. So the very next day, our store director came to work and I told him I clocked in and I looked at him in the break room and I said, I need to talk to you. And he's just like, okay. I'm just like, can we go to your office? And he's like, sure. And then like Tim, my counterpart, was just like, oh, where y'all going? I'm just like, nigga, don't worry about what we doing. Like, go do what you were doing. Go watch the front. Like, we Gucci, we good. Like, I need to go talk to him. Because in the same day, Marie, did I call her that? Marie? We gonna call her Marie. So Marie came in that day and she was just like,
But I had cayenne pepper chewed you out today.
I'm like, oh, did she really? Like, it chewed me out? Where? Because, like, whenever I get chewed out or something, like, quote-unquote chewed out, like, no, I don't get chewed out. Because if I'm laughing in your face when you're talking to me and you're trying to be serious, I'm not taking you serious because I don't respect you. Your title is just a title. I don't care. You can be an ETL or store director. I don't respect you because you do not treat your employees right. Because Marie has told a team lead that sometimes you gotta treat these team members like they're not people. And she expects to be respected by the whole entire fucking team. But okay. So she was like all smiling in my face about me getting chewed out. And I looked at her all upside her head and I said, I didn't get chewed out. And I walked away. And then she was like,
Oh, well, hold on. I don't like the fact that so-and-so called her up here to have her have backup. That's disrespectful. I don't understand why y'all needed to call her to come up there and for her to help diffuse the situation. You should have been able to diffuse it yourself. And
I've told her, I'm just like, look, you don't have anywhere to say shit because you're not a team lead at Target. You never worked at Target before. So you're mad because we needed another manager to come up front to help defuse the situation because no matter what I was saying and no matter what the store director was saying over the phone, nothing was going to get through to these women. And she said, oh, well, you shouldn't have been calling him on his day off. I'm like, he's a fucking store director. I was used to be a store manager. People called me on my day off all the fucking time. It's not my problem. He's a store director. He needs to make sure that shit is taken care of on his day off. And if an ETL that he hired, that he's paying 55 plus grand a year, is not doing her fucking job, what the fuck do you expect me to do? So she just kept saying that, like,
you shouldn't have to call him. When you're here, you're the manager on duty. And what if there's no ETLs here?
I said that won't happen because I'm not about to work more than my pay grade. I get paid $17 an hour. I'm not about to sit here and act like I get paid salary-based pay, 10-hour shifts a day, 5 days a week for 55 grand a year. No, I'm not about to do that. I'm good. I don't have no 4-year degree yet. I'm not in that position yet. So why am I working more than I need to work? Because I'm not going to. So she was just mad about it and said that I needed to pull my coworker to the side and tell her that that was disrespectful. You don't trust me as a manager. You don't trust my authority and this and that. So I didn't tell her all that. I just told her, I'm like, look, next time when something escalates like that, just don't even worry about calling for backup. Like, it doesn't matter. And she was hurt by it. And I had to document her for that too. I'm like, I had to document my team member because my ETL does not like her. She did not like her at all. She's was like, we need to performance her out anyways. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, she's one of the best people. If you get rid of her, cash office would be shit. Okay, cash office would be shit. She has been working here for 20 plus years. She knows how to do cash office. She's the best person for cash office. So if you get rid of her, cash office is going to be in a hole because people in cash office, they don't know how to do everything that she knows how to do. Like, they don't know how to order parts like she knows how to do. There's certain things that she does that they don't know how to do. So if you hopped up and got rid of her, that would be the worst decision that you could have made. You're gonna look stupid. So I was telling him, so like, back to what I was saying, like, so I pulled we're gonna call the store director, we're gonna call him Andy. Fuck it, Andy. We gonna so I pulled Andy into the fucking office, and I was talking to him, and I straight up told him, like I said, look, I don't like the way that y'all be talking to people. I don't like the way that y'all be talking to me. I don't handle that well. Y'all sitting here saying that my colleague disrespected me because she called for backup when you know how these ladies was talking to me because you heard the whole entire shit over the fucking phone. He heard all that shit over the phone. Because they was yelling and cussing at me and demanding their money back. And I said, I can't do shit because you should have came here yesterday. You should have came here yesterday. Like, it's not my fault. This is your fault. This is basically your fault because you allowed your husband to come here without a receipt for your purchase. It's not my fault. It's your fault because you're fucking stupid. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to them individually. So he talks to Cayenne Pepper. Mind you, this girl did not apologize for shit. She did not apologize to me at all about nothing. Like, this girl, all she does is she puts the bug in everybody's ear whenever something goes wrong. And I'll get into that. I will definitely get into what happened with that bullshit. And then Marie comes up to me saying,
I don't understand why you don't feel like you was disrespected by your colleague. I don't understand why you don't feel like she disrespected you. You should be able to handle these situations by yourself. I don't understand why you talked to him and didn't talk to me about it.
and I was like, bitch, you didn't even care whenever I told you what happened. You didn't care. Like, y'all both love to do the same thing, and you want to be he and ha and in my face whenever you say, oh, you got chewed out, and you want to laugh about it. Like, no, ma'am, that's not what we're about to do. That's unprofessional. You went to school for fucking psychology, but you used your psychology for manipulation, which we're going to get into that later, too. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Because at this point, I've been there for about, like, maybe 3.5 months. Because this was before Black Friday. But I want to say a little bit after Halloween. I can't remember when it was. But it was like, it was in between October and November. It was like somewhere in between there. So, as we were talking about the topic of how she is like manipulating situations, let's talk about some other unethical bullshit that went down. Can we talk about how we had 2 employees, one was a guy and one was a girl. And she straight up told the guy employee, pulled him into her office and said,
I do not want you on my team anymore. I need you to put in your 2 weeks or I'm going to performance you out.
and he's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And he said, okay, cool, I'll put in my 2 weeks then. And then I didn't know what was going on. I worked the day that he was saying all this. Like, he didn't tell me that. She told me that. She's like, that's how I got rid of so-and-so, because I put him against the wall and said, you need to put in your 2 weeks or you're going to get performanced out. And that's why he didn't work out his last 2 weeks. He put in his 2 weeks that very same day. Tim and I both was talking to him saying, hey, maybe you should work out your 2 weeks. We don't want you to burn any bridges, because I didn't know what was going on. Tim didn't know what was going on. And he's just like, no, I'm good. After today, this is my last shift. Y'all can give my other shifts away, which they ended up doing. And then the girl, she ended up, like, I want to say she ended up putting in her 2 weeks and then she left. But then she tried to come back and Marie was just like, she's all smiling in my face about this too. She's talking about I love how when people, they leave their job and they come back and try to be like, oh, I want to start working here again. I'm like, only one person asked for the job back, and that was her, and that was it. and you didn't want her here because she was a substitute teacher and she didn't have open availability, but yet you are in a college fucking town. What the fuck do you expect? People don't have open availability. They're in college. They're trying to get their degree. They're trying to do something bigger and better than Target. Like, there's a lot of other things people could do besides Target. Like, yeah, cool, $13 an hour, that's great, but is it worth it? No. Worth the toxic management? No. I've seen people get yelled at over the walkie. I've seen people get talked crazy to over the walkie. I see people in Andy's office. I remember one day I was back there just eating lunch, and all of a sudden, all I hear is him banging his fist on the desk and yelling at people. He does that all the time. And Marie tried to pull that shit on me, saying, I can make you cry. And I was like, bitch, really? Really? So you're telling me when Andy made you cry, you want to put that same shit down on your employees? That's basically what you're saying. You're not about to do that. The only time you're going to see me cry is whenever I'm mad or because I can't put my hands on you. And that's it. Nothing else. Like, you're not about to make me cry. And I think that's why they didn't like me, because they can talk crazy to me all day long, but one, they never did that shit to my face. They always do that shit over the walkie. All the time. Always over the fucking walkie. Like, they did not say that stuff to my face at all. Like I said before, anybody can get slapped. So, let's see. So let's like talk about, like, that's all the unethical shit. But then, as a team lead, I just feel like I should step up whenever the team starts to fail, right? Like, if the person who's watching the front gets overwhelmed because it's a huge rush and they don't know if they need to call for fast service or not, I have them hop on a lane. I redirect the lanes, and then if we need for fast service, I'll call for it. Tell me why Marie wanted to tell me,
I don't need you watching the front. I don't need you getting carts. And I don't need you hopping on the lane because you are working at a guest applicant's level whenever you do that. And I pay you too much money for you to do that.
First off, are you the CEO of Target? No. Is your name on my paycheck? No. You don't sign my paychecks. Who do you think you're talking to? And I do whatever I want. Because I kept doing it. I don't care. There was a day where I walked past Register 5, and I forget who I was talking to, and Marie hopped on Register 3, and I said it loud as hell. Look at Marie working $13 an hour, turned around, look at her dead in her face, and walked away. And I just walked off. And there was a day where she came into work, and we was low on carts, and I was the only person trained on carts. And she said, what's your plan for carts? I'm like, if you watch the front, after I take out this drive up, I can get carts. She said, how are you going to do that if you're watching the front and taking out a drive up? I said, did you not hear the words that came out of my mouth? If you watch the front, I can get carts after I take out this drive up. And she said, oh, well, don't worry about it. I guess I'm getting carts then. And I said, I guess you are fucking getting carts because we don't got no one else. And I walked out the door. You're not about to come at me crazy. She honestly believed that she can keep disrespecting me and act like shit's not going to happen. Like, ma'am, I stay quiet for 90 days because within that 90 days, I can get terminated if they don't like me, and I needed this job for a little bit. But after that 91st day, it's hard for them to terminate you. They need about like 10 documentations on, at least 10 documentations on you about the same situation to terminate you. So I told her, I'm like, bitch, like, you're not about to come at me sideways. Like, no, who are you talking to? Who? I know you're not talking to me. And then she want to come up to me a little bit later talking about some, whenever we have a situation like that, I don't need you to respond like that. I'm just like, you brought it out of me or whatever. Like, literally, you always be sitting here telling me your job is not to do this. I need you to observe the team, coach on the spot, and document. And I'm just like, I'm getting paid $17 an hour basically to watch people. Basically. Like, you don't want me to help nobody. You don't want me to watch the front. You don't want me to get carts. You don't want me to hop on a lane when needed to help break down guest service because I'm really fucking quick on a fucking lane. But no, it's just like what I need to do. This is what she said.
She's like, these are the lanes, and I need to go to the lanes, and just listen for red card conversations, and if you're not having red card conversations, pull them, coach them and document them.
And I was like, so I'm getting paid $17 an hour just to walk through these fucking lanes all day. And then, but don't step in as a manager should whenever needed, because there was a day where I sent her on Black Friday. It was either Black Friday or it was sometime during Black Friday up to Christmas. It was in between that time. And we was like filling up the lanes or whatever. And I told her, I was like, look, these guests do not like being crammed in these lanes because they feel cluttered and they don't like it. And she said, oh, we just gotta fill up the lanes, just fill up the lanes. I had to fill up all the way back here. And I told her, I'm like, look, you know for a fact this is a safety hazard because we had stanchions up. I told her repeatedly, I'm like, this is a safety hazard. These people do not want to be in these lanes because they feel cluttered, they feel all tight together. And she's like, just fill up the lanes, just fill up the lanes. And I told her, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not dealing with no fucking guest complaints. And she's like, okay, well, I'll deal with those. Just do what I need you to do. Dang, so I was trying to argue with me. I'm like, bitch, like, ma'am, I will go home and clock out. Do not get smart with me. I'm trying to tell you to avoid getting some fucking complaints. While y'all over here trying to, here's the lanes, here's the stanchions, like right here, and then this is how much space you have. Not much space at all. So you telling me you want to fill up each lane all the way back to the stanchions. Every single lane. But didn't want to get mad at me when I call you out about it. Like, I was not having it. And she kept disrespecting me. She kept saying that to go back to the whole cart situation, like, you're not allowed to get carts. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. Every time I did that shit, she always pulled me to the side.
You're working at the guest advocate level. Do you want to be demoted? Because I don't have no problem demoting you. That's always open for conversation.
So she has threatened to demote me every single time I went to go help the team. Every time. And I'm looking at her like, really, bitch? You gonna demote me because I'm helping the team? You gonna demote me because nobody in that store knows what the fuck you do? But you want to demote me because I'm doing more of my job. I'm not about to sit here and walk through these lanes all day and not help the team when needed. There is more to this job than just in that. Like, yeah, sure, I can plan events and shit like that too. But at the end of the day, this team is also important. There's more to this job than fucking red cards. The job is not easy. Like, people be saying, oh, the front end is an easy job. Like, when you're a TL up front, that's just not easy. You get yelled at a day-to-day basis. You get bitched at for not hitting red card goals. You get humiliated over on the walkie, whatever. There was a day where Andy, the store director, he hopped up and mocked the girl over the walkie because she didn't like the way that he talked to her, and she told him that. Like, she told him, like, hey, look, I did not like the way that you talked to me, and he hopped up and disrespected her over the walkie and mocked her because she said that. Like, that's not professional at all. Not at all. No. He does that all the time. He be disrespecting everybody. He be talking to me crazy too sometimes. And I be looking at him and I just walk away. I'm like, look, I'm not about to throw my hands on you because I'm on the clock right now. But if I clock out, we may throw hands if you still be pissing me off. Because you're not about to talk to me crazy. He can talk to everyone else crazy, but you're not about to do that with me. No. That's why I let one thing go in one ear and out the other, and I'll turn around, walk away, and do what I was just doing. You're not going to gain no respect from me for talking crazy to me on a day-to-day basis. He said that he wanted to pull Tim and I into his office so he can yell at us because a guest yelled at him. He wanted to, there was a day where we was getting backed up, and he straight up told me,
hang up on the guest. Your front lanes is more important than that guest on the phone.
And I looked at him like, nigga, really? Really? That's how you feel? That's really how you feel? And better yet, you a fucking store director. You are up here. Why don't you just direct the fucking lanes real quick? Be like, hey, they can get you down here. Hey, they can get you down here. Hey, you can go to cafe. You can go to Starbucks, by the way. Direct the fucking lanes. That is their problem. They would observe from a distance. And they'll be like, oh, this is interesting, and be looking, and then be mad when you don't call for fast service, or be mad that you're helping a team member, or be mad that you're helping a guest. There has been multiple times that this man has literally said, I don't need so-and-so to be helping a guest. I need her up here. Go swap out with her. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Or he'd be like, you go hop on that lane right there. I'm like, nigga, you gone for the day. You about to leave. Go home. Why are you still here? Why are you making a big deal about it? shut the fuck up talking to me. It's just a lot of stuff that's built up, and it's just like every time I try to do anything for that team, they always be telling me, you can be demoted, you can be demoted, demotion is always on the table if you want to do these roles here. And I'm just like, bitch, you do the exact same things that I do whenever the team starts to fail, but you don't get held accountable for that. But yet whenever I do it, I'm held on a higher accountable level. But yet when Tim does it, he doesn't get held accountable for it because she don't care. Like, stop talking to me. You sound dumb. I was trying to think of like anything else that I'm missing, but like I said, it's gonna be like a part 1, part 2 video. So anything that was not said in this video, more than likely will be said in the second video, because in the second video we'll go into like the tea, the drama, why is so-and-so not there no more, stuff like that, like let you know like what's going on. But honestly, I can't think of anything else to put in this video. Is just a lot of this tomfoolery that's going on at that Target. A lot of people are noticing it, which is good. A lot of seasonal people are noticing it as well. A lot of people in style noticed it too. It's just like, y'all be getting so worked up over the most dumbest bullshit, and now that Guess has actually experienced it, has actually seen it, has actually seen how employees are being treated, and has called corporate about it, that's why the visits went up. And then that's whenever they ordered all those earpieces. So that's why everybody needs earpieces. They be like, oh, make sure you wear an earpiece. Oh, make sure you wear an earpiece. I'm like, nigga, no, we not about to wear no earpiece. For what? So you can talk crazy to us over the walkie so the guests don't hear it? Like, no, because when they talk crazy to me on the walkie, I just pull out that earpiece. You're not about to talk to me crazy. Who? Not me. No, absolutely the fuck not. Because if you can say that shit to the walkie, you should be able to say that shit to my face. But you don't. You never do. You just want to be like, I just want to make sure the team is like X, Y, and Z. I want to make sure the team is doing this. And I'm like, you wasn't saying that over the walkie, because you was talking crazy to me on the walkie. But now here you are being all nice and shit. Like, oh, well, we just need you to do this and this. Actually, almost forgot about this. So tell me why Andy, whenever... This was the day I put in my 2 weeks. So what had happened was, the last couple of months or so before I left, Tim and I was cleaning up Marie's shit all the time. Like, we had to remake breakouts whenever she makes them. We had to do shit all the fucking time. Like, events that we didn't even know that was going on because she made no communications about it. So there was one day, Andy came like later in the day, I think. I can't remember. And like Tim came later in the day too. And we had an employee who was a no-call, no-show. And they was mad. Well, Tim wasn't mad at me. Andy was mad at me about it. And he pulled me to the side saying some,
I need you to be proactive. You know this person is seasonal and they had attendance issues. Why would you not call someone in?
And I straight up told him, like, I didn't make the breakout last night. Marie made the breakout last night. If you have a problem, talk to her about it. It's not my job to sit here and be like, oh my God, she forgot to do this. Let me fix it first thing in the morning. I open at 7:30 in the morning. This girl was supposed to be here at 9 o'clock. Who the fuck is going to be up at 7:30 in the morning on their day off? Nobody. So it made no fucking sense on why he's getting so mad about it. And he's just like,
now we have to ruin the guest experience on the floor because my GM team is up here now. He's like, if this keeps happening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on a registrar all day and I'm going to put you in GM.
And I said, why? And he's just like, oh, because... I forget what he said. He said, do you want to work in GM? And I said, no. And he said, I'll make you and I'll put you there and keep you there. And I looked at him crazy. I'm like, really? Because I can always go home and clock out. You're not about to put me in an apartment that I don't know where to do shit and then get chewed out and document me for not doing shit right. Like, no. No, it's not my fault. Go talk to your fucking ETL about it. Go talk about Marie about it. Go make her cry like you do all the fucking time. Like, you can sit here and talk to me crazy, but you ain't gonna see me cry, but you will see me clock out. Putting this out there, like, there is somebody at the front end. I don't know if it's a guest applicant. I don't know if it's somebody in style. And I don't know if the front is just fucking bugged. But whenever you have conversation up front, it gets all sent back to Marie. Like, we'll be sitting here talking about one little thing, and then like 2 seconds later, Marie comes up and be like, oh, well, if you don't want me doing X, Y, and Z, just let me know. Like, I'm looking at her like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, who told you that? So somewhere up front is bugged, and y'all need to watch y'all back whenever y'all be talking, because somebody is snitching up there. I don't know who it is. I wish I did, because if I did, I'll put their name on blast. But I truly don't know who is up there tweaking and sitting there telling everybody's business to Marie, because there was a point in time where I said I don't like how she micromanaged stuff, and then literally in the exact same day, 30 minutes later, because me and this person was still next to each other, we had a status, and she said, oh, well, if you don't want me to micromanage anything. I'm like, bitch, who the fuck told you that? Like, no, we are not about to play these games. Absolutely not. So she told me that I need you to step up as a team lead. It's not looking good for you right now because you're not getting as many red cards as Tim is getting, and blah, 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 some bullshit like that, and said that these conversations are going to get more difficult because I'm going to status switch you every week, and you will eventually be at the point to where you either need to put in your 2 weeks or you're going to get performance out. And I said, really? Really? That's really how you feel? Like, you this mad? And then in the same conversation is when I called her out about everything, and I straight up told her, I said, you rely on fear tactics for the team because we have a high turnover rate up front because of it. I follow leaders on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever the fuck I have social media. I follow leaders on there. I have taken corporate communications. I have taken Dale Carnegie, and my Dale Carnegie coach, she even told me, she's like, that's not even a motivational tactic. That doesn't make people feel empowered. That makes people feel empowered to leave. And I told her that. And I straight up told her, like, look, this is why half the team is fucking gone. That's why you are hanging on the thread with only 4 people who's been there long enough to know how to do everything. And if she want to say, like,
oh, well, after a year of new management, people find out if they want to stay at their job or not, and usually most of the time they leave.
and I said, that's not true at all. Like, that is absolutely not true. That's not true. Completely not. Who the fuck told you that? And she wanted to, like, kind of come back and be like, oh, well, there have been days where me and Alan has heated arguments. Ooh, I said his name. There's days that we had heated arguments, and I threw my keys at him and walked out because I was so frustrated and I was ready to leave. And he talked to me in the parking lot, and I came back and worked. I'm like, you came back and worked for a nigga that makes you cry? Really? Really? Who's the clown now? And on top of that, it just made no sense. And it's just like, I already know you're not having the same conversation with Tim. So that's why I know it's like low-key some favoritism. It's just y'all wanted me to be mean to the team because Andy even said once, I need to find out what pushes Romelo's buttons because I need him to start being meaner to y'all. And I was like, no, for what? These people are actually happy to come to work when I was working there. These people was happy to come to work. When they get red cards, they didn't get red cards for y'all. They got red cards for me. They will straight up tell me, I got you 1 red card. I got you 2. I got you 1,500. Like, the end of the story. That's that. Y'all just mad because the team likes me and the team runs smoothly whenever I'm there and there's nothing to complain about. And what frustrated me even more is like whenever I do send out my status emails to these people, the first thing they want to say is, oh, I don't understand what's going on. You're just making a statement. You need to coach people on that spot. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm sorry, that's not my team. That is not my team. Especially when it came to OPUs, that's not my team. It's not my job to sit here and tell these people how to do certain things. They have their own team leads to tell them that. Why am I coaching them on the spot for some bullshit? Like, that's not in my job description. That's not what I signed up for. If I wanted to be in a GMTL, I would have signed up for it, but I didn't. I signed up for service and engagement. And you know what? Nowhere in my job description does it say, please coach all team members on the spot. Where? Nowhere. It says, give accountability to your team, which my team was the front end, not the entire fucking store. So I don't give a fuck what the rest of the store is doing. I just care about what my team is doing. And I never needed to document anyone because I only need to tell somebody to do something once and they'll do it. If I had to tell you to do something 3 times, then you get documented. But I never had that issue before because everything runs smoothly. She just kept saying, whenever you're there, they do what they want. I'm like, no, it's not. Whenever it's there, we get shit done and there's nothing to do. That's literally how it is. It's like we usually have everything all done, usually by noon, the rush hits. Then we usually have everything done by 4 before the next rush hits. And then we usually have everything done by 8. And then 2 hours, we'll be about to be closing. The end of story, and that's that. But that's my experience with Target. If any of my Target peeps got any other questions, any behind the scenes stuff that they want to know about, you can always DM me. You can comment it on the video. I'll answer it on the video. If you want to send me a snap, you can do that too. Other than that, let's be on the lookout for part 2 sometime next week. But until next time, bye.